Alright, Shalom, Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises unto YAHAWAH, Hashem, YAHAWASHI, Hashem, Wakwakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the mighty Akim, Wakwakim, who are diligently waiting to be delivered from this foul captivity. This is Brother Kawakab coming at you with a quick lesson, results to the point. And, the main thing I really want to go into is something that I just kind of experienced, myself, and not today, I guess. But the main thing is that, not to give too many details, but basically something happened that it was unexpected. I didn't really plan for it to happen. I didn't really think that it would happen. And you know what? I was like, okay, damn, like this is it. This is not really bad. It doesn't really impede me too much. But, I feel like for my sake, for my spiritual sanity, if you want to call it, if you want to say that, I really just want to go out of my way to kind of rectify and fix the situation. Because, I really do care about this thing, and even though it's not mandatory, or it's not a law, it's not something that my job is going to say, oh, you can't have this, or anyone for that matter will say, oh, you can't have this, or you can't not go without this and whatnot. It's not like anyone's going to say that, but because accidents happen, or not even just accidents, but just stuff happens and life happens, and there's gonna come a time when something where you don't expect it basically happens, and things get ruined for you. So obviously, I'm like, fuck, like damn, I don't even know how this happened. I don't know why. I guess I wasn't being careful enough, and this happened as a result of it. So I'll accept that. I'll take that. But at the same time, it's also like, I guess, like, I could have been more careful, but at the same time, it's like I feel like spiritually it might have been a sign. I think that's the thing. I think spiritually it's a sign that, for example, like what's it called? Say for example, like you're in a relationship with a woman or a man, or if you're a man, a woman, if you're a woman, a man, whatnot, and something inconvenient happens to you where you can't meet up with each other, you can't spend time with each other as much compared to before, and the fact of the matter is that are you going to let that inconvenience get in the way of you, or are you going to are you gonna fight for that person? You're gonna fight to say, okay, I'm gonna lock on. I'm gonna do my best to, stay with this person that I love and care about. All right, and that was basically the thing that happened to me with YAHAWAH and the situation that had happened. And the reason why I'm keeping this quiet, because I think it's good to have some sense of privacy when it comes to your relationship with YAHAWAH. So in certain areas, not always everything, but in certain areas, then yes, of course, that's when you don't need to always be telling everyone else your business, or putting your business out there. So basically, what happened with me is that I felt like, okay, you know what, I know that it doesn't really mean anything in the sense of like physically I'm still gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna still fulfill my social roles and whatnot, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to I'm gonna try my best to fix it. Basically, I'm trying my best to fix it. And what happened was that at the end of the day, I was struggling. I was trying to think, what can I do? How can I fix things and whatnot? Like how can I make things better, or at least sufficiently good enough and whatnot. And then I'm over here like stressing out and thinking, trying to think of different ways and whatnot, like running my brain to the limit, and then lo and behold, after a bunch of trial and error, all right, the Lord guided me to finding the answer. Okay, and the thing is that again, like I really want to say that I believe that this is a part of the same way that you are willing to fight for a relationship, like with someone you love. Let's say you're a man with a woman, the same way. Even though there's some times when a man can simp and a woman can just be in a bad relationship or whatever the point. That's far from the point. But the thing is that in the sense of for me, I want to fight harder. I want to go above and beyond and at least try to mend things and make things right, make things proper. And it really was honestly scaring me that I allowed this stuff to happen, even though it wasn't really my fault. Sure, I guess, I hope that wasn't my fault. But even though it was my fault, it didn't matter, because I was still, scared that, does this mean that my ties are done? Is this symbolic, like parabolic, or whatever, of something that I messed up in? Did I do something wrong and I'm paying for it now? Because that's another thing. Because in general, we need to be able to think about that stuff whenever something bad happens to you. All right, let's get these precepts. Slocky for talking so much without bringing a precept, but that's the thing. Okay, whenever something bad happens, okay, Proverbs, I believe, Proverbs 12 verse 21. There shall no evil happen to the just, but the wicked shall be filled with mischief. Okay, so maybe I was being wicked. Maybe I was doing something that I wasn't supposed to do. Okay, so as a result of that, I got dealt judgment, and that's the thing. Sometimes you need to actually just take a step back and think, what did you do to deserve something bad that's happening to you right now? Okay, and even then, that's another can of worms of trying to overcompensate. All right, because that's something that I learned. That's something that I learned. Okay, with stuff with how I was moving. Okay, when I was thinking that, oh my God, I messed up. I did this and the third. I did whatever. All right, YAHAWAH, like this and the third, like, and then you start thinking that you have to make a vow and stuff like that, vows and whatnot. But this is what happened with one thing. If I don't even know if I'm gonna find it. So Slovakia, rent. Here, Judges chapter 11. I found it. Judges chapter 11, verse 30. And Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord, and said, if thou shalt without fail deliver the children of Ammon into my hands, then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me when I return in peace from the children of Ammon shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer up for a burnt offering. So Jephthah passed over the children of Ammon to fight against them, and the Lord delivered them into his hands. And this was an example of overcompensating. Okay, like sometimes you just have to say, okay, you know what? If this is what the Lord is dealing with, if this is how the Lord's going to deal with me, be it a victory or a loss, sometimes you just have to accept that. Speaking to myself first and foremost, because I often get over. I often panic. All right, before things get decided, and I think, oh my God, things are looking bad. I'm worried, and even as time goes on, I'm just waiting for the answer, and the answer hasn't been shown yet, or things haven't been drawing to its end. but I'm still just panicking, thinking like, oh my God, I have to do this and whatever and whatnot. And then, it's as a result of that, like maybe just at times calm down, let things work out, and if you truly are doing your best to appease YAHAWASHI, just naturally, if you're trying to your best to live as a righteous man or woman of YAHAWASHI, then you shouldn't be worrying about any terrible things that happen. But again, it's all in the mindset of reflection. All right, reflecting on your deeds. Are you doing stuff that is pleasing to the Lord, or are you doing stuff that is wicked in the eyes of YAHAWASHI? Okay, and that's a very big thing that we all have to think about before we just panic and say, oh, the Lord's not dealing with me, oh, I messed up, I know what I did, I know that I did this. Well, yes, you may have did something, but that doesn't automatically just say that the Lord is not dealing with you, or the Lord's going to kill you, or let something terrible, absolutely horrendous happen to you. That's not always the case. Sometimes maybe it's just punishment. Sometimes it's just getting you in that mindset of you better fix your stuff, you better act right before I actually do let this stuff happen to you. All right, because sometimes your parents might not even whoop you. They might just put up their hand and threaten to beat you, and then that's basically that's basically all it takes to get you in line and whatnot. All right. So yeah, let me also go back. Oh yeah, here. So, and then in terms of fixing things, you trying to rectify the situation that you're in or that you made yourself in. Okay, both works both ways. Okay. Matthew chapter 19, verse 26, but Yahushua beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible, but with Yahweh all things are possible. It comes into the matter of, you try your best, you want to do the right thing, you want to be a good person, you want to be good, obedient, whatever, but the stuff is that, sometimes it doesn't always work out, and you have to go out of your way to make the impossible possible, because if the Lord is truly dealing with you, He's going to make it possible, number one. And on top of that, if you value your relationship with the Lord so much, all right, and that's when you're going out of your way to do the impossible in order to please Him, and that's when on that same token, all right, on that same token, on the other side of that same token, the Lord's going to do the exact same for you, where He's going to go out of His way to say, hey, okay, you know what, I see that you did this, I see you did your best to try to make things right with me, to try to make things, to try to adjust and be a better servant, be a better friend, be a better son or daughter to YAHAWASHI. That's the important thing. You attempting to try, and then on that same thing, you actually succeed. You can expect the Lord to say, okay, you know what, you did it. You actually did it. Then you know what, I'm going to show you favor, and I'm going to do something for you. I'm going to make the impossible possible happen for you. So then the Lord could just bless you with an actual harmonious situation, be it whatever you need. Where, say for example, if in most situations, the Lord would, in most situations when things don't really work out, all right. Well, let's just go back to the thing, because it's a lot easier for me to paint the picture. But say for example, how I believe it's who is it? What was it? First Corinthians chapter 7, verse 7, for I would that all men were even as myself, but every man hath his proper gift of Yahweh, one after this manner, and another after that. I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them to, if they abide even as I, but if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. That's the thing where, in the example of man and woman relationship, because I'm speaking in the example of my relationship with YAHAWAH and YAHAWASHI, all right. In the example of that, maybe the Lord will, because the thing is, like, oftentimes being in a relationship, it's not always the best thing, but the Lord might make it so that, okay, you know what, if you're a brother in the truth and you're doing the work, the Lord's going to make it so that, okay, well, He's going to give you a woman that is just the Robin to your Batman, the Clyde the Bonnie to your Clyde, all that stuff, whatever the saying goes. All right, just someone that is actually a helper rather than a detriment or just trying to misuse you and abuse you and whatnot. All right, so but that's the thing. It is, and it's not necessarily that you don't confine yourself to just that. It's whatever that we actually need, because some brothers, they already have women. Some brothers don't want women and whatnot. They don't have that thing. You have to understand that it's not always confined to that same thing. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's a car or whatever. Okay, maybe you can't have a car because you don't want people to try stealing it or keying it or whatever. All right, but the thing is that the Lord can make that situation that used to be bad or impossible for you to have possible, simply because you go through the you went through the hoops, you went through the hardships of making things possible and probable, and you showing your love, your appreciation, and your faith towards YAHAWAH and Yahawashi by going out of your way to kind of solidifying things with Yahweh. All right, so that's basically what I really want to kind of talk about. I pray that you are able to fully understand where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to get at and what. So with that, I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh. I believe it's this way. Yahawadah, Hashem, Kwak, Wadash, Shemar, elders and apostles, great middle son of Bad Ball, and Shalom.